Everybody that's waiting around on Facebook, thanks for hanging. And here goes YouTube. YouTube is live. Woo! All right, everybody. Hey. What's the haps? Oh, I almost forgot. The audio stream is live. Everybody live. This is why we have a pre-flight checklist, because we will cause trouble otherwise. We will miss things. That's just how it rolls. Okay. So we have that, and we have that, and we have that, and we have that. Share to your story. Right. Sure, I'll share that.
Let's tweet, which now tweets immediately. Good.
Oh, I see. Mac Geek Gab tweeted.
Yeah, it must have been a cache.
Yeah.
As you pointed out, which I guess is what deleted the cache too.
As long as you did it with like App Cleaner or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, Dave Ginsburg. Lots of people. Hang on. Let me go get the. Okay. Sure. I wish Edge would remember the stuff I want it to remember, specifically passwords. Come on. All right. Yeah, maybe that's what I need to do. No, just Icecast. Man, there we go. Icecast. GG pre-flight. Icecast stream.
Morning.
Good morning. I don't know. It's time to get things started. It's time to light the lights. It's time to start the streams on the Geek Gab show tonight. It's time to put on makeup. All right. I didn't put on any makeup today, did you?
No.
Okay. Maybe we should start wearing guy liner for these shows, man.
No.
It can be exhilarating. More guy liner sometimes for the theater shows we do. And other makeup, but especially if it's like the...
It's time to put on makeup. It's time to light the lights. Yep.
Did you not hear me singing that?
Yeah.
Okay. It's
time to get things started on the Muppet. Yeah, the Muppet Show is on Disney Plus, I think, now.
I saw that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't care about that. Make that go away. Okay. Everything's good. Everybody's happy. Everything's... Oh, I got to send out the thing.
Uh-huh. Oh my, I'm taking quite a bit of processor here.
What's taking processor?
Let's see. Oh my. Mimo Live, 14%.
That's nothing. Mimo Live on mine is taking 130%.
Okay.
And that reminds me to remove my watch, because otherwise it will distract me. That's bad. Yeah, bat signal via Apple Watch. Same Dr. Dream. Hey, Chiron. Brian 8944. Who else did I miss? Paul Friends. Yeah. Hey, Paul. Hey, Kenny. Warren. What's up, Warren? Sweet. Good. Fun. Hey. All right. Everything okay with your CPU? Is it as expected, or is there something chewing?
No, it's just higher than usual. But
maybe the new version of Mimo Call requires more CPU.
Okay.
I mean, maybe. Mm-hmm. All right, let's keep an eye on that. Your fans doing okay and all that stuff?
What are they at? 4328.
Oh, that's high. Oh, interesting. All right. Well, if it starts creating a noise problem, then just you could run Turbo Boost Switcher and kill it. Is that normal though? Do your fans always run that fast when you have audio going? Because core audio will cause that. Yeah.
Uh,
All right. Let's talk through this thing, shall we?
mm-hmm.
Okay. So we'll do the 2 little quick tips, and then I figure we'll do the spam thing to finish that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then it looked like we had a lot of things that sort of fell into the security realm. So mostly you. I think only one of those is me. And I realize they're not all entirely security, but they're, you know, like the standard exclusion one really isn't. But that's why I put it first, just to kind of keep it separate from the pack.
Yeah, I don't know where it is, man.
Right.
Maybe someone can find it for us.
I think it's gone. Yeah.
They may have baked it into the code, which is kind of stupid, but
interesting.
I don't know why you do that.
Yeah.
Or it could be a pref file somewhere. They could have moved where the pref file is. I mean, you know, they should leave it in the bundle, but no. Maybe somebody at Apple can tell us what's going on. All right. And then, Patrick's thing. And then Wolfgang, that's my guess for that one.
Yeah. I mean, I realize it's a guess. I mean, it's as good a one as any, but it opens up a conversation.
It's similar to messages I've gotten in the past. When I've gotten messages similar to that in the past, that would help solve it. So,
yep.
And then Todd has a list of things. And then,
is all of Todd relevant for this? That was what I meant to look at.
I don't know.
Is any of Todd relevant? I was going through and I took a bunch of stuff that was like in the bottom of the thing and threw it in the bit bucket. I'm like, okay, we haven't gotten to these. I'm going to toss them. Mm-hmm. Most of them were mine. Several of them were yours. I mean, it was, it's kind of an even mix. But I saw privacy concerns. I'm like, oh, we have this security thing. Like maybe we'll throw it in there. But if it doesn't, if it's not relevant, I mean, it hasn't been relevant for 6 weeks. So it's, I
mean, he's just making general commentary about stuff in the OS. I mean, nothing there is stuff we haven't talked about before.
All right, then I'll bit bucket it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then let's see.
That was more about controlling is the wrong. That threw me off too. And did I not put this in the thing? Oh,
I don't see it. Where is it?
Sorry
about that.
Able remote controlling apps. Oh yeah, that didn't make it down. Uh-oh. How many other things didn't make it down? I will check this as we go through. Peter, yes. Craig, yes. Spam, yes. Ben, 856, yes. Patrick. Oh, Patrick's me, yeah, okay. Wolfgang and Abel. Yeah, Wolfgang, Abel. Okay, all right, cool. So there's Abel. It's in there now. It's more about parental controls, which, I mean, is related to security in a sense. So I don't know if it's not relevant, nix it. We can bit bucket it. That's another one of those. That's from October. So, but
let's go back here. There it is.
yeah. So it's about remote learning and that sort of thing.
Well, it's a quick one.
Yeah. All right. It's fine. Yeah.
And
it's a good conversation to start, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, cool.
Yeah. And then Todd, that one as far as I know, that's the way to solve that.
Yep.
And back in, and then yeah, that was the activation. That was a fun one.
Yeah. Oh, should we move
It's
that
not
up? Should we move that up to the security thing? Probably, right?
Well, it is security.
Yeah.
He was trying to make a security point, and my observation is that it's not that easy.
Okay. All right. So maybe I will take this Able one, and just based on where we are on time, we may or may not do it. So, okay, great. So we move that up. All right. So then we got Todd. I'm going to turn this around to give you a break. So I will do Darren first with photos, then you can take Todd with photos and people, and then we'll solve Paul's LSD problem.
Whoa, dude.
And then, let's see, Sandy backing up Big Sur. Yeah, okay. So is that in there? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds like it's not ready for prime time yet. So.
It's not. Yeah, exactly.
Which is weird. Yeah. I mean, the other guy figured it out.
Right.
Michael. Okay. Brian.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of figured it out himself. But
He did, but I mean, yeah. So, all right, fine. So maybe we can.
No, we can talk about it.
Okay. All right.
I mean, you gave the right answer.
What answer was that?
Well, how to get he was like, where do I get Java 6? And I think you answered it. And then I was like, you may want to try newer Java. And it turns out it didn't run on newer Java, which is lame because it should.
Yeah, sure.
I just am nervous about running a, deprecated version of Java because there could be issues. But that's Java.
That's how it works.
Kernel storage. All right, SSD. Then yeah, that article kind of neat.
Yeah, they do that. Yeah.
Change it. Oh, wait a second. This is kind of a related what is the yeah, hold on here.
Holding. Morning, Wayne Henderson. Good morning, Hollis. Morning, David Benfiglio. Hey, what's happening, man? All right. Looks like everything is relative. We have finally updated the version of Mimo Live that we're using. We had been on 5.8 for a very, very long time because there was a Mimo call issue in it. But they say that they fixed it in 5.10 beta 2. And so we waited till 5.10 beta 3. And here we are. But we both have 5.8 at the ready because it's been so stable for us. So
you've been signed out. Thank you, Google. Boy.
All right. How are we doing here? Dashboard. Okay. Good. All right. That's true.
All right, change and clone. Yeah. All right. So copy. And then yeah, Tyler. Yep. All right. Well, I don't know if we'll get the cool stuff found, but
yeah, I don't know. I agree with that. I agree. That that is fair. Yeah. Oh, come on.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, I thought it was write once, run anywhere. What happened?
Yeah. Well, it is just as long as you're on the right thing. So
Well, but then Microsoft kind of ruined it, and that they added optional things, and then yeah. All right.
Let's see. Yada. Okay. So this is adware and Apple and M1 security malware. Okay. Yeah. All right. I don't know that I don't know. Is there anything to say about M1 native malware? I mean, like, does it change anything that we as Mac users would normally have been doing? It doesn't seem to me, but before we do this episode, I'm curious what you folks think. So we're going to take our quick break, but share, and I'll I'm always back pretty quick. So, but I'll read the chat when I get back. So, all right, but we will be efficient about this. Okay. Of course, now I need to find songs that we can play. And how come? Where are all my songs? All right, it's time. Let's do it. We'll be right back. Yeah, no. Dave Ginsburg, this song is not on Apple Music or any streaming service. We could. I mean, obviously we have all the masters and everything, but yeah, that's actually why we can play it on our Facebook stream without, Facebook swinging the band hammer or whatever it is they are wont to do. But yeah, we should. I mean, we can look the way these services work. You can apply. There's like an appeals process or something where you can say, okay, like that channel is allowed to play these songs. Either they're that channel's songs, like they belong to that channel, or they've been granted explicit permission. But it's a big process. I probably should do it, especially for our Fling stuff. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna open up my calendar here, and I'm gonna do exactly that, because that would be good to be able to play all the Fling stuff on our things. So that's at least current and new. Whoa. Okay. Add Fling songs to whatever MGG permissions. Hopefully I'll remember whatever that is. No, don't put this on my. Okay. Yes. Due date. I want a due date. Oh, just a date. We'll put it on Tuesday's schedule. Okay. Hopefully, there we go. Okay, great. All right. Are we ready here? Is it time? K-Ora S?
I don't hear you.
Okay. Let's see. Hey,
Oh,
I am
boy.
sending audio to you. It's all good. I see audio going.
Hello?
Hey, John.
What?
I see audio going to you. And
Hello?
we hear you.
Oh, wait.
Yes, indeed.
There we go.
Yes.
Hello?
What'd you turn off?
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, no, I know why. Okay, hold on. Now.
Yes. Mimo Live is definitely sending you audio, John.
Now?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello. How you doing? What's the haps? That's Mr. Braun. John F., as it were.
Yeah, how's it going?
Yeah, it goes. It's fine. It's all good.
Huh.
Yep. I'm going to make sure again. One more time again. They're outgoing. It has stopped sending John F. Braun audio, but that's because he disconnected. Hey, Mr.
Okay.
John F. Braun.
Now I hear you. That's weird. I had to
What
reestablish that.
setting did you change when you got up from your computer?
No, my the audio hijack thing wasn't set to the beta. Now it is.
Okay. That makes sense. Got it. So when you turned on audio hijack, it just stopped. Got it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, Brian Monroe. Glad to have you here. We waited for you. And now it's time to go. All right. Shall we? I'm just glad it wasn't a new version of Mimo Live presents issue. So. Okay. Shall we?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I believe it's you. It feels like it's been me recently. So, okay. So we are at 25, not all that great, but not terrible. All right, let's do it. 5, 4, 3.
The Mac Observer's Mac Geek Gab episode 858 for Monday, February 22nd, 2021.
Welcome to the Mac Observer's Mac Geek Gab, the show where you send in your questions, your tips, your cool stuff found. We take them, we mash them all together into an agenda, and then we loosely follow that agenda because the goal is for each and every one of us to learn at least 5 new things every time we get together. Sponsors for this episode include Other World Computing at MacSales.com, Sunbasket at Sunbasket.com, where promo code MGG saves you $35, LadderLife.com/MGG, and Linode.com/MGG, where you get $100 in credit just for opening an account. Pretty good stuff. We'll talk more in depth about each of those later. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And here in Fairfield, Connecticut, this is John F. Braun.
How you doing today, Mr. John F. Braun?
Keeping warm.
That's good. That's good. Our thoughts go out to all our friends in Texas and everywhere else that are suffering from all the snow and cold. And I mean, it's snow laughing matter to me. That it's been pretty serious. Yeah. So hopefully by the time this episode comes out, most of this is behind all of you and all of us. But yeah. Let us know if there's anything we can do. You know how to find us. Feedback at MacGeekGab.com.
Yes, he said feedback at MacGeekGab.com.
It is feedback at MacGeekGab.com. That's where you can send anything. But truly, if you need anything from us, let us know. We are here to help in whatever ways we can. But that is also where you send in your questions, your tips, and your cool stuff found that we mentioned, a couple of minutes ago. All right. In fact, Peter sent this in to that address. Peter with a quick tip, our first of the day. He says, let's say you want to drag a file into Mail. I usually have Mail as full screen, so dragging and dropping is a bit of a pain. Here's a nice hidden feature. Go to the Finder and find your file to attach. Start dragging it. It doesn't have to go very far. Switch to Mail via Command Tab and select your Compose Mail window. Continue dragging and the file will automatically pop up, and now you can drop it. So yeah, this is true. You can drag across spaces this way and anything else that you can sort of navigate that way. So once it's in drag mode, switch your context with the keyboard or whichever, and boom, you can drag it in. That's a great one. I don't spend a lot of time in full screen mode, though. Now that I've adopted the new space, all spaces have their own. All screens have their own space. What's that setting, John? I can't even remember the name of it. But now that I'm doing it the new way, which is not all that new, but now that I'm doing it the new way instead of the old way, I do wind up using full screen. If I have like a video or something that I want to watch, I just let it go full screen because it doesn't force both of my displays to go full screen, which is great. So it is, displays have separate spaces. I knew I'd get there. So thanks for that, Peter. Good stuff. Are you do you do the displays have separate spaces thing, John, or are you still on the old way?
Nope, it's off.
It's off. Okay.
I'm okay with that.
I recommend trying it. I was okay with it for a long time, but I find it is a better way to live having displays with the
requires log out. Well, I'm not going to do that.
Don't do it during the show. Yeah, it does require log out. The only real downside is you can't have a window actively spanning both spaces, which is a rare thing anyway. I would only ever do it it's funny, I would only ever use that to align my spaces. In fact, here's another quick tip, or align my screens. If you have 2 screens and you go into System Preferences, Displays, there will be an Arrangement tab because that's how that works. And Arrangement will show you how the system perceives the relationship between where each of your screens is. And you can change that, right? You can move it up and down, and then you can like move screens around. And the point of all that is so that when you drag from one screen to the other, it's seamless. It's like magic, like it knows. And the reason it does know is because you've told it here. And so I would get a window across, spanning both screens and adjust it that way. You can't do that anymore with this new thing. But that, quite frankly, that's the only time I would ever want a window spanning two screens, because it doesn't really make sense to have it. In fact, I always would hate it when I would have a window that was going to the edge of the screen, and then I would notice, oh, it's actually spilling over into the other one. I didn't like that. So anyway, lots of quick tips. Yeah. So, but it is nice to be able to go full screen on one screen and not on the others, and have windowed on the other screen. So that's a huge benefit of turning that feature on, which is the default. So if and it's been the default for like 5 or 6 years. So it's, or more, maybe more, to be honest. So yeah. All right. Any more on that before we move on to Craig?
On to Craig.
Craig says, sharing a quick tip that when I saw it documented was an aha moment. Some of us like to change our disk icons to custom icons, which is particularly helpful if you frequently connect or disconnect drives for moving files around, or hey, it's just cool looking. The process to put in place a custom drive icon is pretty easy once you've seen it done. It's basically just clicking Get Info on the drive, highlight the icon in the upper left, select the icon to use via the Finder view, and it's done. I did this recently as a fun thing for an OWC drive enclosure used with my nightly carbon copy cloner backups. What is not intuitive is how to reset back to a default icon. I searched for about an hour, finally discovering a note on how to do this. Why it took me so long was a lack of specific documentation on exactly which system ICNS file contains all the defaults. You follow the same process of the change, going to Get Info in the Finder and selecting the icon in the upper left. And then at this point, you simply press the delete key. That's it. The default will be restored. The same technique can be used if you change folder icons, etc. You are right. He says if you're not logged in as an admin privileged user, you may be prompted for admin credentials. So you are right. The delete key will do this, obviously. I do my custom icons a little bit differently. I do the same thing. I go find whatever it is I want to put a custom icon on, and I do a Get Info. And then the icon in the upper left-hand corner is what I manipulate. But what I will do is I will copy an image to the clipboard first and then paste it into that icon in the upper left. And you just get it on the clipboard and then highlight the icon. You do Command V and boom, it pastes it. And you can cut from there too. So that will take the icon out. So there you go. That's custom icons. Pretty good. Thoughts on that, John? I heard you clicking around like a maniac.
Nope.
Okay.
Just preparing for something.
Preparing. Okay. Preparing is good. We had a conversation a few episodes ago about spam and what systems we each use, and asked you what systems you use for spam, because I certainly don't have what I would consider a good spam workflow anymore. And to remind you all, my spam workflow is I let Google, so server-side spam filtering via Google, and then I rarely look in my spam folder. The one thing that I do is I use a service called SaneBox for a lot of different things. It auto-files my mail. It reminds me of messages that I have not received follow-up replies from people from. Like, it's great for those things. In fact, it is a service that I simply would not want to live without. And I've joked, but I'm serious about this. If SaneBox were to go out of business, my first order of business would be to create my own engine that does the parts of SaneBox that I need for me. It'd be a pain in the neck. I don't want to have to do that, but it's so valuable. Anyway, one thing that SaneBox does is it keeps an eye on my spam folder. And if it sees something in there that it thinks is not spam, it puts it into a folder called Sane Not Spam. And so I do look at that, but that is basically the extent of my workflow. So let's hear about your workflows. I'm not convinced any of us has a good one, by the way. Lewis says, I've been using SpamSieve for quite a long time, and its accuracy is very good at this point. Although you are right that it isn't server-based, I run it on my desktop machine in my home office. The machine is on 24/7, except for an automated reboot in the middle of the night. Mail is set to auto-launch at startup. I have multiple mail accounts, my own domain mail, Gmail, Yahoo, etc. This setup allows all of my accounts to be filtered in one place. When I'm remote, all of my inboxes are updated via IMAP to reflect the contents of the home machine, which means it reflects the contents of SpamSieve. Of course, it helps that I've been using and training SpamSieve for so long that I can pretty much trust its behavior. I do check the contents of the spam folder regularly, but rarely find anything misfiled these days. So, Lewis, that's the trust the system approach. Trust, but occasionally verify, I'll say. That's fine. I mean, that's honestly about as good as I've heard. It's that verification of the system that doesn't seem to be happening for most of us because spam is so high volume these days. So, yeah. Thoughts on that before I read through the rest of the next one here, John?
Yeah, I got to find a better flow.
We all do. Yeah.
Yeah, because I set something up the other day and it put it in spam, and I don't understand why. I set up reporting from my Synologies for, you can get a monthly status of, what's happening with your disks and all that.
Sure.
And I enabled it and I said, send a test email, and I didn't get it. And I looked at my spam folder and it's in the spam folder. It's like, why are you putting stuff that's being sent to me?
What put it
coming from my Synology in the spam folder?
What put it in the spam folder? Was it like Gmail or iCloud or something else?
I think it may have been the mail junk filter.
Oh,
yeah. Cause it was highlighted with from what I understand, if mail identifies something as spam, it'll highlight it a certain color. So I think mail did it. Okay.
Interesting. And that makes sense because it's an email from you to you. And so it that seems like a strange thing. I can see why that would flag enough heuristics that it would be like, yeah, that might be spam. So over it goes. I mean, I think I've dealt with that before. I've been getting emails from my Synologies for a while, and I've trained things such that it's not as much of an issue. But, yep. So yeah. All right. Well, listener John says, I have POBox.com. I'm a legacy user, so I get it for free, he says. And that filters most stuff server side. It would be worth the money, and it emails me every day. I check to make sure I don't need to release anything, but their sending service also whitelists things that I've sent. Interesting. He says it really does limit my spam. Okay. So a server-side solution with a slightly better interface for managing this stuff. I can see that. Okay. So that's POBox.com. We had Mailroute as a sponsor for a while here, and we still use Mailroute for our Mac Geek Gab mail. So anything you send to us goes through Mailroute, and that does a pretty good job of telling us what it has blocked, and it gives a nice little interface to manage the spam. So I guess for our Mac Geek Gab stuff, we are certainly doing better than our personal stuff. So that's good. Yeah. Interesting. I'd forgotten that. I mean, I check our Mailroute quarantine all the time, but you forget about these things when they become second nature, part of your routine, which is why I wanted to ask this question of us all. So yeah. All right. So POBox.com, mailroute.net. All right. Yep. We're getting somewhere on this here. Thank you, listener John. It's good stuff. Any thoughts on that, John, before we move on? I think we got a couple others.
Yeah, I like the last one I saw from Mailroute. I didn't even bother to read it because the title was Opportunity.
Opportunity, yeah. Yep, got it.
Bet you that's spam.
Yep, toss it. Yep, exactly. Yeah, and that's the nice part. We can both manage that from their web interface. So, yeah, it's good. All right. David has a little bit more complexity to his. He says, I have a personal domain that I use for my private email that I have forwarded to my Apple Mail account. However, there are emails I get sent to my Gmail and Outlook just for historical purposes or necessity. He says, here's where the gauntlet begins. I have my Gmail and my Outlook accounts forwarded to Apple Mail. This means these emails have to pass through the Microsoft and Gmail spam filtering rules before my rules, the forwarding rules, are applied. So each email gets their own sieve before it gets into Apple's mail system and then goes through the Apple filter. If an email manages to get through all three of those filters, then I have a small set of rules to shift them into a subscriptions folder or things like that as I'm able. The Apple junk folder every once in a while has an email that gets mistakenly captured, and I make the needed adjustments. But with this system in place, about once a week, I can browse the topmost emails and see if anything got caught. If I go a few weeks and it's still a quick browse to see the list and make the check. I didn't intend to set it up this way. It just happened over time because using just Gmail, I found I was doing this a lot more frequently, and the same with just Outlook. So that's interesting. Okay, so it sounds like he's got several filters in place, the waterfall effect, if you will, the waterfall workflow, but is only checking the last of them. So whatever Gmail and Outlook are catching, you're not checking, and then only checking what Apple Mail is catching. I mean, that's better than not checking anything, but of course the stuff that's caught by Gmail and Outlook, you're never going to know. And maybe that's okay. I mean, that's sort of what I'm doing here is if Gmail catches it, unless I'm looking for it, I just won't find it. And that I know that's not great, but that's just how it be at the moment. So I was hoping that one of you would have some magic workflow that like totally dealt with this, but I don't. No, doesn't seem to happen. Thoughts on that before I got one more, John, in the listener queue here from this. Okay. So the last one is from listener John, a different listener John, who says, I have PObox.com, and I also, so this may be the same listener John, or maybe not. But he says, another thing that I do is I put my junk mail folder in the favorites bar. And by doing that, I see the number up there, and that reminds me to go check it, which is interesting. I kind of like this. So yes, thank you. That's a good little tip of putting that there so that it's top of mind. Of course, it could be very distracting too, but having that up there, that makes sense. I like that. That's good. I have also found, I think I mentioned this when we brought it up first, John, but when I'm going through my spam, which admittedly is not as often as I should be, I sort by subject because so many spam messages have either the exact same subject or very similar subjects. And I find it easier to go through, multiples at a time, because it's like what happens is all the ones that are the same sort of, blur out from my field of view. But the human brain is very good at identifying anomalies, right? And so these other things sort of become background noise. And then the ones that have like the lone subject line that is not common to other spam, that sort of stands out to me. And it's like, oh, okay. Now maybe somebody should write, this would be a utility, right? A utility for going through whatever winds up in your spam. So somebody could write a mail plugin to highlight spam that is in some ways unique. So the opposite of a spam filter, right? So instead of looking at all your email and deciding, okay, heuristically, these are likely to be spam, now look at only those that are likely to be spam and look past them and say, okay, which ones of these jump out at me as maybe being not like the others? And that might be the way to look at stuff, because I don't need to see all the 15 different ones for Viagra. Like, just get those out of my way. I want to see the 12 messages that don't have anything in common with the others. That would be really interesting. So maybe we should share this little segment with, it's Michael Sy, right? That makes SpamSieve. Is that right?
I don't recall.
I think
used
so.
to run it.
Yeah.
I should run it again.
Yeah. So maybe this would be a good, because, SpamSieve, I used to use SpamSieve all the time, but then we went, because we have phones and all these things, I decided I wanted server-based spam filtering, not, single machine-based spam filtering. And so that's the world that I live in, and sounds like most of us live in, at least in some capacity. And so SpamSieve probably is selling less. But if SpamSieve turned around and looked at it the other way, that would be a valuable thing for us because I'm only going to go through my spam on one machine. So it's fine if it's not running all the time. In fact, that wouldn't be necessarily, I mean, it could be, and it could move things. It could be like that Sane no spam thing that SaneBox does. So, okay. All right. We have ideas. We will share them. So cool stuff. All right. We've got all kinds of questions and answers and things like that. But yeah, but that's the end of the spam stuff. Unless you've got anything else for that, John.
Nope.
Okay. I want to take a minute and talk about our first couple of sponsors here. And then we've got some security stuff to go through. We've got a lot to go through. So sound good to you, John?
Absolutely.
All right. Our first sponsor here is Otherworld Computing at MacSales.com. And this week, I get to talk about their new Envoy Pro FX, the fastest, most compatible, waterproof, and ultra rugged drive available. So this is a portable SSD that works with past, present, and future Macs, of course, Windows, Linux PCs, and the iPad Pro, the Chromebook, all Surface devices with data speeds up to 2,800 megabytes per second. Super. This thing's fantastic. Perfect for audio, video, your photography stuff, graphics, gaming, and really just general data storage, right? Because they've built this with trim support that works with Thunderbolt to deliver the fastest and most reliable portable drive performance available today. And it's certified as dust-proof and drop-proof and waterproof, and it's bus-powered, which makes it smaller than most compact smartphones. Fanless, that's a good one, right? Includes the Thunderbolt and USB cable so that it plugs into any machine anywhere, and comes with OWC's 3-year limited warranty and lifetime US-based support. Very cool. Just started becoming available last month. 240 gigs all the way up to 2 terabytes starting at $169. Go check it out. The OWC Envoy Pro FX at MacSales.com. And our thanks to OWC for sponsoring this episode. Next up is Linode, because you're going to need to use a server at some point, right? It might be for a little personal project. It might be for something you're doing at work, and it could be a new thing at work that then scales up. Well, that's the beauty of Linode, because they're server nerds over there. They know how to do all this stuff. You do your thing. You run your engine or, WordPress or your VPN server or whatever it is you want to put on the server. And then you let Linode worry about keeping the server running, having it on their super fast network, right? They've got the infrastructure. They've got the data centers. They've got the hardware. You know what you need to do with it. And that's where things are perfect. You know what's even better is that you can get started on Linode today with $100 in free credit just for being a Mac Geek Gab listener. And you can find all the details at linode.com/MGG. You want to go check this out. Take advantage of your $100 in free credit. You've got 60 days to use it all up, which is great. You can really get a lot done in that 60 days and figure out how your whole system is going to work. Go check it out. If it runs on Linux, it runs on Linode. Visit linode.com/MGG and then click on the little create free account button to get started. And our thanks to Linode for sponsoring this episode. All right, John.
All right, Dave. We have the mystery of the disappearing file.
Uh-oh. This sounds like it sounds like we got the right man on the job. What's up? What happened?
Well, I don't know. So remember I don't know what happened. I haven't found it yet.
That's fair.
Ben pointed out the fact. So we were talking about time machine issues a while ago, and how someone was not having certain files backed up by Time Machine,
right,
that matched a certain pattern, and I couldn't reproduce that. But the one suggestion was maybe your standard exclusions plist had that pattern in it, or someone is trying to, mess with you.
Sure.
But Ben noticed this, and sure enough, I looked on the system that I looked on to view this file was not my Big Sur system, but my Catalina system.
Oh.
So this is apparently a known issue. There was a post on the Apple developer forum saying, where'd this file go? And there's no answer at this point. So I don't know why they got rid of it.
Interesting. Huh. Yeah, I've looked for it too. I don't seem to have it. So yeah. I'm guessing it's not gone, but I'm also guessing it might be buried inside a package somewhere, maybe, or maybe it's frozen on the system partition so that it can't be messed with, right? Mm-hmm. Now that we've got the system and data partitions or volumes, sorry, not partitions. I'll get it right eventually, folks. There's this great show you can listen to called Mac Geek Gab that'll teach you all these things. And I'm going to start listening. I swear right away. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Huh. Interesting. All right. Well, hopefully its removal was a good thing. And in that it, like what you described, couldn't happen, that somebody can't intentionally or otherwise mess with that file. Oh, all right, cool. Patrick finds something interesting. He says, I was having Bluetooth issues with my M1 Mac Mini, and I saw many people have complained about this. When my Mac went to sleep, my third-party peripherals would lose connection and I couldn't log back in. I had to plug something into the USB port or use an Apple keyboard and mouse to get myself back in. The Big Sur 11.2 update fixed most of these issues. Now there is one more issue I'm having, and I don't think it's exclusively an M1 issue. When I boot up my computer after it has been shut down, or if I restart the computer, I am unable to use my third-party keyboard and mouse. I've narrowed the issue down to FileVault versus Bluetooth. When macOS starts up, it only allows Apple Bluetooth devices to work, which of course includes the Apple keyboard and mouse. Only after I log in do my third-party Bluetooth devices begin to work. Logitech used to recommend disabling FileVault, which I think is not an option, or should not be an option in my opinion. On their support page, they now recommend using a USB receiver or a USB keyboard and mouse to log in. To test this out, I turned off FileVault, and after all my third-party Bluetooth devices and after that, now all my third-party Bluetooth devices work. I understand Apple's doing this for security reasons, but I wish they gave us an option to put specific Bluetooth devices on a whitelist or something like that. Yeah, that's interesting. So, I wonder if something in the startup security utility would allow this to happen, right? Because you can choose to, there's something in there about there's nothing in there about starting Bluetooth keyboards and mice or third-party things or anything like that. But there is an external boot option. And so disallow booting from external media is the default in startup security utility, which you get to in recovery mode. And then you can change that to allow booting from external media. I highly recommend changing it to allow booting from external media, because if something happens to your internal media and this is on its default, you now have a much bigger problem to solve. But I wonder, John, if this external media, internal media switch is also maybe related to this particular issue. It's probably not, but it's worth checking. Go into Startup Security Utility, turn on Allow Booting from External Media, which again, I understand the security concerns and you need to as well. But with that in mind, eyes wide open, I highly recommend allowing booting from external media. So, and then there's the secure boot features, which have full security, medium security, and no security about what types of operating systems are allowed to boot. And perhaps those are related. Like that's the only settings that I know of for this. So I'm wondering if messing with those would change it. I guess as a quick test, go to no security and allow booting from external media and see if your Logitech stuff lets you log in. That's all I got. What do you think, John? I know.
I agree. I'm set up with medium security and allow external booting.
Okay.
Because that's how I roll. So.
Yeah. So medium security is any signed OS, right? Like that's the deal. Okay. Yeah. All right. I like it. We'll put a link to this article about startup security utility in the show notes so that you can see how to get there and what it looks like when you do. So, yeah, cool. All right. You want to take us to Wolfgang, John? Yeah.
Yes. All right. Wolfgang says, thank you for giving us all a good show. I'm a sporadic listener to your podcast and have learned many things. Good to hear. My boot disk is full. Ew. The computer does not boot, so I tried to use it as an external HD. So he must have put it in target disk mode. I tried to delete files, but I received the error message. The operation can't be completed because the disk is full. We tried terminal commands such as rm -r, but with the same results. Please advise as to what I could do. One thing, all right, I didn't think of this with my initial reply, but you could put sudo before it. Sometimes you got to put sudo before a terminal command in order for it to kick in, and you'll be prompted for your password. So you could try that. The other thing is when I've gotten messages similar to that, sometimes you have to disable system integrity protection. And we have an article that tells you how to do that on Apple's developer site. So that's all I got.
No, I like the sudo thing. Makes sense. If these files are owned by root and you want to delete them, you have to you have to be able to do that. Some files anything on the system partition. Oh, did it again. Anything on the system volume is read only, right? So you can't remove those, but chances are that's not bloating up and filling up your drive. And there's very few things that would even write to the system volume because it's read only. Like the system can't write there either, except for like Tim Standing told us, like there is one sliver of time right before your Mac either shuts down or restarts. After all other processes have been shut down, the system volume is quickly mounted as read write. If there are any queued changes to happen to it, they're written and then the volume's taken offline, reboot happens and it's mounted read only. So, but effectively, I don't think the system volume is your issue. So yeah, I like your sudo thing and I like, disabling SIP. I mean, there's some files that are prevented. I'm guessing that the files that are causing this are just user files or log files. Obviously it would be great to be able to boot it up and check but you can't and check with a utility like Daisy Disk or Clean My Mac's Space Lens or Omni Disk Sweeper, right? And any one of those can find big files, but of course you're stuck at single user mode on the terminal. So I'm not sure that sudo would. Oh, wait a minute. I think I have an idea here, John. He says, my computer does not boot. I tried to use it as an external hard drive. Oh, okay. So you are mounting this on another Mac. Okay. I was going to say, if you were in single user mode, by default, the volumes are all mounted read only. So you would have to remount them from the terminal as read write in order to delete things. So it could be a permissions issue. And sudo, if you're just booting it as an external drive, that would do it. But you could run Space Lens on it and try from there. Of course, if it's not letting you, yeah. I mean, check to see how it's mounted. It's possible. Look in disk utility and make sure that it's not mounted read only, or that it's check in the Finder and make sure that it's not mounted with permissions enabled. Disable permissions, and you might be able to delete files. Yeah, but one place to check. I know I'm all over the place. Sorry. If you're doing it from the terminal, it's in private/var/VM, I believe is where it is on most, on all current operating systems. Somebody in the chat room at live.macgeekgab.com will help me out if I go to private, no, it's not in, maybe it's in private var. Is that what I said? Private var. That is, I got to type what I think I'm typing here. And then there is a VM folder in there. That's where your virtual memory swap files are. Those can be large files. Like right now, in private var VM, I have a sleep image file that's 2 gigs. It's normally at least 1 gig and can bloat up to 2 if you're doing a lot of stuff. And it can bloat up to a lot more than that. those will be deleted at boot, but might not be deleted in time for your system to have any room to do anything with. So that might be a quick place to go get a couple gigs free and boot your Mac. So there you go. That's what I think. I don't know. Crazy. Any thoughts about my thoughts, John?
No. I mean, you could also clone that drive to a bigger drive.
Kick the can down the road squarely, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah. All right. Okay. You want to take us to our last one here, to Stephen, John?
Yes. All right. So Stephen noticed an article that we had posted that is regarding Apple has a page now where you can modify the activation lock feature of your iDevice, which is something you may want to do. But Stephen made an observation here, and he said, at first thought I had is this is now a perfect way to remote erase a target's phone.
Okay.
So here are the pieces of data that you need. And then I did a little thought experiment here, actually a real experiment. So in order for you to modify this setting, you got to get in touch with Apple, and you got to give them certain information specific to the device. And Stephen notes that an IEMI, which is like a hardware serial number, I guess, it's a unique value to any GMS capable
GSM
device, I believe.
Okay.
Or GSM, yes. And he's saying, well, the IEMI is not a closely held secret, nor is the device serial number, which is 2 pieces of data that they need to do this thing. At least not enough for you to permanently erase my device via a website or call to Apple support. Sure, it requires your Apple ID, but I'm sorry, this should not be possible without physical possession of the device. I know why they did it. Locked phones are basically useless, but that's not enough reason to seriously weaken security by not requiring physical possession of the device. A bit of social engineering and boom, your device is erased, along with all of your data. So here's my observation on this, Dave. I think it's harder for one to get the serial number and the IEMI than you think.
Okay.
So I went through an exercise to try to get these pieces of data. So looking at my devices right now, my iPhone 12 mini, and I think most recent iPhones, has absolutely no identifying information on it at all. I think older phones did. They would have like the serial number.
They'd have the IMEI right there on the phone. Really? We don't have that anymore.
Was it on the phone?
Definitely. Yeah. I had a problem where I needed support for my phone, and it like, even the geniuses didn't know. They're like, oh, you got to get your IMEI. I'm like, well, my phone's not working. Like, how am I supposed to do that? And they're like, oh yeah, sorry, you have to call the carrier. And I went out and it was like, wait a minute, there it is right on the bottom of the phone. So, but you're right. It doesn't, not on the 12 mini. It's not there. Oh, interesting.
Right.
Okay.
My iPad Air 4
it is
does
there.
have it.
It is there. Petter Hall in the chat room says it's there. It's in the SIM tray in your phone. So that's where it's printed. It has to be printed somewhere on the phone. Otherwise you wouldn't be able to, like, there's things you wouldn't be able to do. Yeah. So that makes sense, Petter Hall. Thanks. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. I had not looked on the SIM tray.
Yeah, I don't have a SIM removal
SIM itself
tool.
has a number, but that's something else.
Yeah, the SIM tray.
Right.
Thank you, Petter Hall.
Ah, all right. I'll check that out. All right. To continue, the iPad Air 4 does have the serial number printed on it. But getting the IEMI, Dave, I think is more difficult with the latest devices in OS. Now, the thing is, you can go to settings and then about, and that's where you find the IEMI. But here's the key, Dave, is that you have to provide either Face ID or Touch ID or the passcode in order to get to that point. So,
yeah, but with it in the SIM tray, none of that matters, right? Like, all I need is a SIM removal tool. If I have hands on the phone, I have the IMEI. No question about it.
The serial number or the IEMI?
Oh, sorry. Just the IMEI. I think that's right. Hopefully somebody that's listening can check. I'm looking around to see if I have a SIM removal tool within arm's reach, but I do not. So I can't personally.
I don't recall seeing the IEMI on the tray.
I'm going to look and see. I found a something that might eject this while we're doing the show here. So, yeah. I don't think it's going to.
All right. So to continue here. So, all right. So to get most of this data, you need the passcode to be able to authenticate to the phone. But I could be wrong on that. Maybe you can get all of it by looking at the device.
Yeah.
And the tray.
Hopefully somebody will answer this question. Yeah. But let's assume, so let's assume that you can. Then, if you have the serial number and the IMEI, you don't need anything else. Is that enough?
No.
Okay.
Another thing I did here, Dave, now you could run a utility like iMazing that also displays the information for the device. But that requires you also to authenticate with the device. And that's something that you shouldn't be able to do unless, again, you have the passcode.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And
go ahead. Here's a physical hack I found, though, to get all of this data, Dave. You know where you can find all of this data? The box of the device.
Oh, sure.
It's printed on the box. So hide your boxes.
Whoa, that's right. Oh,
so
yeah.
people can't get this data. Because I was like, I seem to recall that information being on the box. So guard your box or destroy it or something if you don't want someone to get these numbers from you.
Right.
All right. So, but even if you got those, Dave, you still would need the person's Apple ID and password to initiate this process.
Okay. Got it.
The thing is, if you try to do that, because I tried to do that, so that page has two things. One, it's like log in with your Apple ID so you can continue, which of course you need the ID and the password, or you can try to change the password. But if you try to change the password, all your devices that are logged into iCloud will start screaming at you saying, hey, someone's trying to change your password, which should give you a heads up that somebody's trying to mess with you.
Something's happening. Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. This is interesting. I mean, this is, we've said for years on this show that there are absolutes, but we all choose our place on the continuum between security and convenience, or ultimate security and ultimate convenience. And this is yet another example, I guess, of this topic where, it has been difficult for users to be able to turn off activation lock on a phone that, this has been a support issue for Apple. People wind up calling Apple all the time with this. So putting this in the hands of users makes it way more convenient for both the users and for Apple. However, it comes with, a slight reduction in security, adding convenience. That's just how it works. Like that's how it goes. So, yeah. So, Petter Hall again in the chat room again. Thank you. At live.macgeekgab.com says that you need a proof of purchase of the device somehow, either through your Apple ID, where it's sort of automatic because it's part of your account, or some other way of proving that you own this device, and then you can go ahead and flip off the activation lock. So, okay. All right. That makes sense. I don't see this as overly terrible, but I mean, I could, there you go. Chiron says convenience is the enemy of security. And the inverse of that is true. Security is the enemy of convenience. I love to say we could make our houses way more secure if we just had all brick walls, no windows, no doors, right? Nobody gets in, nobody gets out, but that includes us. So that kind of sucks. So let's not do that. Like, let's put a door in. Okay. Well, now if I can get out, you could get in, and maybe I want to see out. So maybe let's put a window in, but okay. Well, now people can see in, even if they can't get in. That's a security breach, but now I can see out and some sunlight can come in, right? Like it's just how it goes. We got to pick a point on the path. And I think, which is why I'm glad we're having this conversation, because I think it's important to pick that point with your eyes wide open. And it doesn't mean if your neighbor, or me or John picks a different point than you, that you're wrong or we're wrong. It's that if you're doing it eyes wide open and you know why you're picking that point and what your risks are and aren't, then you're good to go. Like, that's it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. All right. Cool.
And I found one other thing. Here's another way you can get the IMEI, Dave. And you'll see that I linked to an article that's part of Wikipedia. Apparently, there's GMUSSD codes. These are codes that you can type in directly into the keypad and have the phone do various useful things.
Yeah, right. Like forwarding calls and things like that. Okay. Yep.
I think so. But one of them, and I tried it and it works on the iPhone, is *#06#. That will show you the IMEI and a few other numbers unique to the phone.
Oh, wow.
Oh. Yeah. Check that table out. It's pretty neat.
That's pretty cool. That sucks. I have a show to do right now. Otherwise, I'd start playing with this table. So, okay. That's good though. I like this. This is great. Great. Okay. We have some more questions from you and all sorts of things. I want to take a minute and tell you about our next two sponsors if we're good with this discussion, John. Yeah?
We are good.
All right. Next up here is Sunbasket, where at sunbasket.com/MGG, you get $35 off your order for these delicious meals. And they've figured this out, folks. Super efficient the way this works. You've got their traditional meals, which will give you, all the ingredients and the instructions. It really is fun. Like, following these instructions, it makes it easier to cook as a family, we've found. Of course, it makes it easier to cook on your own too, but it certainly makes it interactive because you can look down the instructions and be like, oh, you do that part, I do this part, and then it all comes together and boom, you've got a meal that you all prepared, you all cooked, and you all can enjoy eating together. So it enhances the social aspect of all of that. That's their traditional meals. Then they've got their fresh and ready meals, which are just $8.99. So they're good for your body and your budget. And those are meals that are ready to go. You just heat them up and eat them. Heat them and eat them. And they're delicious. And with things like Greek meatballs with tomato cucumber salad and lemon tahini dressing, lettuce wrapped turkey burgers with spicy cream carrot salad, Peruvian chicken over orange cauliflower rice with ají verde. I mean, how do you go wrong? Go check it out. Again, $35 off your order when you go right now to sunbasket.com/MGG and enter promo code MGG at checkout. That's sunbasket.com/MGG and enter promo code MGG at checkout for $35 off your order. One more time, sunbasket.com/MGG. Enter promo code MGG, and our thanks to Sunbasket for sponsoring this episode. Next up is Ladder at ladderlife.com/MGG. Listen, we've learned a lot about ourselves in the last year, and one of those things that we've learned is that life is fragile, right? Things can always change, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. And I know I don't want to leave my kids or my wife with a huge financial burden if something were to happen to me. And on that note, it makes sense why people get life insurance, especially term coverage, which is surprisingly affordable. Why not pay a little bit each month to protect the ones you love? And if you're asking yourself this question, choose Ladder, because Ladder makes it impressively fast and easy to get covered. It just takes a few minutes, and you just need your phone or your laptop to apply. Ladder's smart algorithms work in real time, so you'll find out instantly if you're approved. There's no hidden fees. You can cancel at any time. And since life insurance costs more as you age, today is the time to cross it off your list. So check out Ladder today to see if you're instantly approved. Go to ladderlife.com/MGG. That's LADDERLIFE.com/MGG. Ladderlife.com/MGG. And our thanks to Ladder for sponsoring this episode. I think it's time to talk photos, John. And listener Darren has a question for us. He says, backups are important, aren't they? My backup drive for my 42,000 photos has failed, but all is not lost, as they are still, of course, in my iCloud photo library available to me on my phone and my M1 Air. Both are set up with optimized storage, as there isn't enough room on either device to keep full-res originals. How can I create a backup of my photos? I know I can move the library to an external drive, then keep the originals, but I want the libraries on my internal drive. Ideally, I want an automated way to back up, retaining live photos, etc. Okay, so to my knowledge, and please correct me if I'm wrong, there really isn't a way to automate backing up to an external drive unless you store the full library on an external drive like you mentioned. But I have a few options. The what would I do if I were in your shoes scenario. And the first thing I do is ask on Mac Geek Gab. So again, if I miss something here, or if we miss something, because maybe John will catch me too, let us know. So the first one would be to set your main user account to your internal drive optimized storage. So exactly as you have it. Then create a second user account, which uses the external drive for full storage. You can have two user accounts on the same Mac that are logged into the same iCloud account for photos. And so only the cool part is that it will only pull down photos to your external drive when you're logged in to this secondary account. So you can take your laptop with you. You've got your optimized access to all your photos as you would like. And then maybe once a week, you set your computer down as you go to sleep or something, log it into the other account and let it slurp down all those photos. So that's one way. And then number two is log into iCloud.com/photos and download from there. Now it will only let you download 1,000 at a time this way. So you would have to do this 42,000 times. Sorry, not 42,000 times. You'd have to do this 42 times. So not great, but not terrible. Certainly not as bad as doing it 42,000 times. So there you go. But that would be the other way. I don't know of any, like it would seem to me that it might be possible for someone to write an app that logs into iCloud on your behalf and slurps down your photos and saves them somewhere in this automated way that Darren is suggesting. I don't know. I don't know that it exists, but it might. Like, John, what do you think? Any thoughts on this?
No, I'm with the, download in small batches is probably your best bet.
Yeah, but I don't know. It seems like this could be automated. So anyway, hopefully, let us know. Feedback at MacGeekGab.com. I know it's extra, but it's worth it. Mm-hmm. All right, John, you want to take us to Todd?
All right. Todd has one that caused me to do a little investigation because I haven't done this in a real long time. And he says, under people in my Photos app, he didn't say which, if it was iOS or Mac OS, but it's on both in different places, obviously. Sure. There's a bunch of photos attributed to my full name under people and a bunch attributed to just my first name. See attached. And sure enough, he had that. Is there a way to bulk reassign or teach photos to get all of me under one name? Also in the attached one has a black bar behind my name and the other does not. What does that represent? I think it might be the ones with the black bar associated with my contact card and the other one is just called my first name. Took a little fiddling, but I figured it out, Dave. In Photos on iOS, click on the photo in People. Their name will be at the top. The name attributed to that photo will be at the top of the screen. Click on that and you can change it. And then Photos on Mac OS, it's a little different in that you click on the name under the photo in People, and then you can also edit it.
Can you do this in bulk?
So,
I think you can, right? I think you can highlight multiple photos and say, make all of these this other person.
I did not try that, so maybe he can.
I think you can. I have memories of doing this, and I'm pretty sure it's relatively. I think it's exactly that. You highlight them and do it. Now the thing is, though, if Photos is convinced that you're two separate people, maybe you send that to the IRS and they might send you a second stimulus check. So maybe this could pay off. I don't know. I don't encourage this kind of thing, but that's how it goes.
No. As far as the black bar, I don't know. I found various discussions about it. Some people say, oh, it's still indexing your photos. But when I looked at mine, there was one that, and I haven't done this, IDing people for ages, and I only had one photo that had a black bar on it. Some suggest that it was to help center the photo so it looks pretty. I don't know. So I don't know what the black bar under people is for. If you know, let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
Feedback@macgeekgab.com.
That's it. That's the one. I've emailed that address before. Those guys answer. It's amazing. I've heard they answer every question that comes in. It's an unsubstantiated rumor, but I've heard that. So it's good. All right. Moving on to Paul. Paul says, I'm using Mac OS Big Sur and have the latest version. And I used to have my photos set to open in Graphic Converter if I double clicked on a photo in the Finder. Today, when I did that, it opened in Preview. It was a JPEG for what it's worth. So I made certain that it was still highlighted and then pressed Command I. According to the file information, it was set to open in Photoshop. Getting stranger. I clicked the dropdown and chose Graphic Converter and then clicked Change All. This is done in the Finder's Get Info box, folks, which is great. If you want all your JPEGs to open in a certain app, you find one of them. You do exactly what he said here. You go File, Get Info in the Finder. There is an Open With section. Choose that and then make sure you use Change All so that it changes everything. He says, I didn't notice that it's asked if I wanted to change all and to open with the application Google Chrome. He says, I didn't notice at first that it wasn't saying Graphic Converter, and I clicked Continue. The dropdown immediately changed back to Photoshop. And when I double-clicked the file again, it opened in Preview. Okay, curiouser and curiouser. So this was his question to us. And then before we could answer, he wrote us back. He said he did say he was going to try to clear some caches with Cocktail, the Mac app to do this stuff. And then he wrote back. He says, so the first thing I saw in Cocktail was Launch Services, which I figured sounded like a good candidate. I rebuilt it and rebooted. When it came up, I checked the info on a JPEG file and it showed to open with Google Chrome, which was a good sign because at least it was taking the instruction that I had given it, albeit incorrectly. He says, so I changed it to Graphic Converter, click Change All, click Continue, and it stayed. I double clicked that file and voila, it opened in Graphic Converter. So yeah, this is interesting. And it sounds like your launch services database was corrupted and needed to be reset. And so in short, you had an LSD problem. There is a process called LSD on the Mac that runs full time, and that is the Launch Services Daemon, or Daemon, if we're going to fight about it, which, according to Apple, provides support for launching apps and matching document types to apps. So this is definitely where your issue was. And you're totally right. Like, I don't know what made you choose Launch Services as the first thing to reset in Cocktail, but you definitely hit the nail on the head. That is the answer here and can be really helpful in solving these weird problems. I've seen, I don't know what causes Launch Services to get wonky like this, but it's a big database of stuff that's constantly being written to. So it doesn't take much to corrupt it, it seems. So, but yes, Cocktail, Onyx will all let you reset LSD, as it were, in your Mac. So yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, I've had where sometimes if you click on Open With, you'll see multiple instances of the same app. That's another sign that Launch Services needs to be fixed.
Right. Excellent. Yeah.
I haven't had that happen in a while, but I've seen reports of it in the past.
Yeah.
One final thing, if you want to get down and dirty and look at the innards of how your Mac figures out what to open when you click on something, there's something called Swift default apps.
Right.
That may have been another way to kind of to solve this type of problem. That's another thing. It basically allows you to see what extensions and various things are mapped to what applications.
Right.
So
that I always love it when you bring up Swift default apps, because that is the Swift version. So written in the language Swift of what I think was probably your first, if not one of your first contributions to what we now call Cool Stuff Found on the show, which was RC default app, right? Early on. So yeah, handy utility, being able to dig into that stuff. Now I just wish we had ResEdit, John. Not that we have resource forks, but I just liked ResEdit. Yeah. ResEdit was fun. If you don't know, well, kids, you can ask your parents what ResEdit was. We'll put a link in the show notes. I'm sure there's some like Wikipedia article or something about what ResEdit was for the Mac. The Mac files used to be in two forks. There was the data fork and the resource fork. And it was actually kind of cool because the resource fork had what we now call like metadata for the file. So things like the icon and other bits of information, including like what kind of file it was, that sort of thing. And it was Apple's way of solving this before we do what we're currently doing. So this app called ResEdit, which was from Apple, allowed you to manipulate that. So you could change your icons and things like that in there, which was fun. So yeah. Anyway, I don't know where we're going with that. Keith has a question. He says, and it might be a geek challenge. He says, I've been trying to find some tools to use with macOS Mail, and I wonder if you have any suggestions. I have a couple of things running that send email alerts. I filter these off into folders and try to remember to check them every day. I generally don't delete them straight away, but I have sessions every few months where I blitz all the old messages. Is there any utility you're aware of which can automatically delete mail from within specified folders after a set period of time? So anything older than, say, 100 days gets deleted. Okay. I don't know that I know the answer to this because I have a few folders like this that I'd like to solve as well. And so now, John, I'm thinking about, all right, what would I do to solve it? And my first thought is a rule in Mail or even on the Mail server if you can. But Apple's rules only apply to incoming messages, so that's not going to trigger any rules. You could create a smart folder that shows the contents of another folder, but only things in that folder that are older than 4 weeks and unread or read or something, right? So, and then you could create an Apple script to delete the messages in that folder. That gets a little convoluted, but it might work. I feel like there's an easy solution to this, Joe. Joe, I don't know why I said Joe. Keith, I like Mail Steward. Mail Steward is an app that I feel like I need to start using. I've got I've saved pretty much every email I've ever sent or received. Now, obviously, some marketing emails I jettison. But by and large, I've saved everything. And so I have my mail folder is like 112 gigs or 125 gigs now, which is like, that's not sustainable to like put that on every, I mean, I only have it on one machine. It's the machine in the office, but I don't know. I'm feeling like I probably should be using Mail Steward. I have this thing about, do I want to trust my data inside a third-party app that might, not be around for me to get my data? Like, so I know Mail Steward uses open database formats and stuff. So that's not really an issue, but so anyway, maybe I should start using Mail Steward. If you use it, let us know. Or if you use something else, let us know. I feel like there's an answer here for Keith and for Dave. So I don't know. What do you do for any of this stuff, John? Do you just mount it all up on one of your machines?
I do a couple of things. So one thing is that in Apple's Mail app, if you go to Accounts, Mailbox Behavior, you can identify a trash mailbox, and then it will erase those after a certain time period that you can select. So that could be one workflow that you may want to get into. And all of mine I have set up, throw out the trash once a month.
Yeah. But these aren't trash yet, right? Like these are just...
No, I understand that.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but you're right. Like this auto remove things in that folder, which we have designated as trash once a month. I mean yeah, okay. Yeah. Huh. Yeah.
The other thing that I do on occasion, I haven't done it for a while, but I don't want, like you, I don't want any one mailbox to get too large. So typically I will take things, like, for example, my Mac Observer email, I only keep a year's worth of stuff in there, and the rest of it I put in an archive mailbox.
That's a good idea.
My thought being that the less it'll make mail more responsive if there are fewer items in any one mailbox. And I think that's kind of the purpose of archiving anyways, is, put it off, but you may need it, at some point in the future, then look in your archive mailbox.
Yeah, I do exactly the same thing. I have annual archive folders for both sent and received mail. And I go and those are stored, in the on my Mac section. So they are only on one of my Macs, and it's, that's the one where the big archive is. And then the rest are just whatever is in the IMAP mailbox. But that keeps it, keeps things sane. So yeah, interesting. There's mail imperfections or imperfections in dealing with large amounts of mail, including spam. Seems to be a theme for this episode here. All right, let's, where are we here? We got time for a few more things. Let's go to Sandy here. We'll see how we can get through a couple of these here. So Sandy says, I'm realizing I'm a little late with converting to Big Sur. No, John and I each have a machine that is not on Big Sur yet. You're fine. But I've just done it, and it's working pretty well so far. However, I found a new problem this morning concerning backups. Usually I have Time Machine backup to a partition on my Drobo, which saved me during the installation of Big Sur. And I also make a bootable backup to an external drive with SuperDuper. That backup failed last night, and in reading SuperDuper's website, it has to do with Big Sur and the way it uses drives. They have a workaround that I could try, but I wanted your opinion on the matter. Should I wait for them to get the problem solved and then start making backups again? Does Carbon Copy Cloner work with Big Sur? And should I simply move over to them? I really just need something that works and is easy to run. One other question. Do I have to back up with Time Machine to an APFS drive? My Drobo doesn't support those, but I've had no trouble with it so far. So to answer your last question first, nope. You can do HFS Plus or APFS. There are some benefits that we're finding about using APFS for Time Machine backups, especially, actually both on direct attached, but new backups over the network, new over the network backups created with Big Sur 11.1 and later will create APFS disk sparse bundles, and new backups created to APFS drives on direct attached drives will take advantage of some of the why can't I think of it now? The what's the thing that Big Sur does? The snapshotting. Or APFS does, right? So to make your backups more efficient and that sort of thing, which is great. But no, you don't have to. HFS Plus is still totally supported, so you're good there. Over the years, SuperDuper and Carbon Copy Cloner have kind of leapfrogged one another. One of them will add a feature, do a thing, or solve a problem, and then the other one catches up. And they, that's just how it's worked over the years. At the moment, Carbon Copy Cloner is ahead of where SuperDuper is with this particular stuff, especially with Big Sur and bootable volumes and all that stuff. I'm guessing that, Dave Nanian, so Dave makes SuperDuper, Mike Bombick makes Carbon Copy Cloner, and I'm guessing that Dave is on this. Clearly, he's aware of this based on the posts that he put in his blog about it, and we'll get to it. But it's not easy stuff to solve, and you want to make sure you get it right, because if people are using your software to back up, you want them to be able to trust it. And so it not only is just figuring out the solution, but also testing it like crazy before you have your customers use it. So you might reach out to Dave and see if he's got a test version that you may or may not be comfortable using, or switching to Carbon Copy Cloner will solve this particular problem. You might wind up in a leapfrog position down the road, but hey, if you've got licenses for both, then you can just flip-flop back and forth at will. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on it, John. Anything? You got any more? Others?
No, I'm good with Carbon Copy Cloner.
Same.
These days. Yeah,
exactly. Yep. All right. Michael has a geek challenge. He says, between my wife and I, we have 2 Apple Watches, 2 USB-C iPads, an iPhone 12, an iPhone XS, and a 2012 MacBook Pro, and a 2018 MacBook Pro. Is there anything we can get that will charge everything at once? If not everything, how about just the iOS devices? I'm looking to get organized in 2021. So you are looking for one device to charge them all. We've talked that Satechi thing that we talked about in a recent episode. I'll pull it up and put it in the show notes again, where it was, you put things in like file folder sort of deal. It was part of Cool Stuff Found. And plug the cables in. That sounds like maybe what you're looking for here. I mean, we suffer from this problem too. Our bedside tables and our living room, like the edges of the couch between the couches and the end tables, are a rat's nest of very specifically selected cables and power and all of that stuff so that we can charge our devices when and where we want to be. But it's not great. I get you. So yeah, let us know, folks, if you've got something for them. But I'll put that Satechi thing in the show notes for you, Michael, and we'll see where we go from there. So unless you have any thoughts, John.
The Apple Watch is just Qi, right?
The Apple Watch is Qi. Something happened to your sound. I don't know what happened, but maybe you turned off a compressor or something like that, John. But you got quieter.
No.
Okay. Interesting. It happened between when you muted to cough and not cough. And I don't think it happened on my end. So we can still hear you. Right. It's fine. But it's something's different for sure. So.
But yeah, the watch is Qi only, right?
We kind of sort of Qi. It's Qi with its very specific puck. Basically. Okay. But there's no cable that plugs into the Apple Watch to charge it. Is correct?
That correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I didn't think.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yes, it is right. It's Qi-ish only. Yep. That's right.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to find one charger to roll them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I updated my machines, I actually got it's a little heavy, but it's an Anchor one. I think it's 95 watts and it has 2 USB-A and 2 USB-C.
Okay.
So it can charge 4 things at once, which is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yep. All right. I am going to, where are we here? We are so close. We're going to do one more here, and it's a handy little one from Jose. So that we're not having to deal with John's audio level. We'll, if we had more questions left, we would do this. But anyway, Jose says, I purchased an iPhone for my wife. When she makes phone calls, my name appears to people as her caller ID. I had heard this could happen when phones are purchased from the Apple Store app, which I did, since somehow these devices get associated with the purchaser's information. Is there a way to correct this issue? So you are correct that devices get associated with a purchaser, but that's a different problem than what I think you're seeing, because what I think you're seeing is coming from your carrier, because it's the carrier that sets the caller ID. And that's usually tied to the account holder's name unless you change it. And there is a way to change it with certainly each of the major carriers and pretty much every carrier. You might have to call support with any one of these, but it is doable. And we have links for AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint that we will put in the show notes. And sure enough, it was T-Mobile that he had, and just go into the link and they've got instructions for how to do it. Most of these allow you to do it online, and so that's where you do it. So yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. It's time to bring the band in, John, I think.
Yeah, I thought, I'll have to look. I know I came across it on my phone somewhere where I could set it on my phone. I could change my caller ID name.
Oh, really?
I thought it was in... Is it in the phone section?
Huh.
Yeah, let's see. Phone, my number.
Yeah, I don't know that I've seen that on my phone. I'm on Mint now. And I don't know that I get to set that. Not here, but I can go, I don't know if I looked, I think Mint, you have to contact customer service to do it. But yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. Yeah. Carrier services? No. I know you can go into like settings phone and set your phone number, which is sort of weird to me that you can edit that. I don't know where that matters, but yeah, there is a show my caller ID in my phone settings, but it's just a toggle for on or off. It doesn't let me say what my caller ID should say. So, yeah. All right. Good. Thanks for listening, folks. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for everything. We love getting together with you every week. It's part of what we get to do. And I do want to take a minute here, John. I know we're running on time here, but I do want to take a minute and thank all of our premium subscribers whose subscriptions have renewed or who have contributed in the last month. Actually, last couple of weeks. It's been a couple of weeks. I don't think it's been quite a month. But I want to thank, and you can learn about this at macgeekgab.com/premium. Really, it's not mandatory that you do this, of course. If you like to and you have the means to, it definitely is a part of our support structure here and how we keep the show rolling. So I'd love to thank George from Surrey, or George from Lightwater, right, which is in Surrey. Yep. Okay. Ken from Kailua, Chris from Chorleywood, Racer from I'm not sure where, Michael from Robbins, Mark from Panama City, Matthew from Forked River, Tony from somewhere, David from High Wycombe, Dave from Saugerties, Michael from an undisclosed location, Jeff from Chesterton, Bill from Duxbury, James from Melville, Joseph from Marietta, Michael from Rochester, Brett from Pembroke Pines, Frank from Tunbridge, Michael from Concord, Scott from Calabasas, Robert from Columbiana, Stephen from Plainfield, Mark from New Fairfield, where I used to live, Ralph from Attleboro, Barry from, well, who knows where Barry is right now, Dionisio from Oakland, Tim from Bright, William from Hebron, Joseph from Shorewood, Dan from Parts Unknown, James from Chester, Clifton from Newhall, Stephen from Costa Mesa, Everett from Marina, Olga from Bellevue, Jason from Charleston, Larry from Alpharetta, David from Seabrook, Paul from Fishers, Mark from Milford, Gary from Babylon, Neil from West Hartford, Lou from Albuquerque, Joshua from a very secret place, Louis Michel from St. Laurent, Randall from Portland, Peter from Sudbury, Abel from Santa Rosa, Peter from Auburn, Bob Dr. Mac working smarter for Mac users, Levitus from Austin, hope things are going well down there, and as for James in San Antonio as well, Abdullah from Reisterstown, Margaret from Waukegan, Robert from Hamilton, Jeff from North Belmore, Ari from Kensington, Nick from Mount Clemens, Elliot from Brookline, Harvey from Washington, Timothy from West Windsor, Bob from LaPeche, Harry from Durham, where I currently live, Michael from Milwaukee, David from Farmington Hills, Brian from Danbury, Thomas from Sacramento, Santiago from Palm City, Dimitri from Moscow, Drew from Santiago, Richard, did I say from San Diego? I said San Diego. Not sure why I said that. Richard from Galesville. And thank you very much, everybody. That's the end of the list. There we go. Thanks so much for your support. You folks rock. Like I said, we couldn't do this without all of you, but you can support the show. Really, the best thing you can do is what you've already done. You've listened, interact, send us stuff, tell a friend about the show. This is how we do it here, and we really appreciate it. John, do you have anything else to add before we get out of here?
Thank you, everyone.
There you go. Thanks, everyone, indeed. We will we'll see you next time. Thanks for visiting our sponsors. MacGeekGab.com/sponsors is where you can go. Of course, the sponsors we mentioned in this episode: LadderLife.com/MGG, Sunbasket.com/MGG, Linode.com/MGG, and MacSales.com. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week. You rock. John, you got us into this, but you've got to get us out. What's the magic?
Oh, man. I will get us out with these 3 simple words. Don't get caught.
Made on a Mac.
And we're out. What happened to your gain?
I have no idea. I touched nothing.
You muted and unmuted, and then suddenly, like, your level that I'm getting from you is in the toilet. What do you do to mute? What is your workflow for that?
In Mimo Live, there's a mute button, and I click on it when I need to mute. And then
Interesting.
And then I click on it again to unmute.
I wonder if you wound up changing a level or something while you were in there. Because you're super low.
There's a dynamic. What is this slider for? How about this? What's this?
Keep talking.
No, I didn't change anything. Except
Super
I
quiet.
clicked the mute button. That's all I did.
No, I'm thinking you did something else. You might not know it, but like your level to me is barely registering. So look in Audio Hijack. Is that receiving you? Oh no, Mimo Live gets directly from your mic. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. Did you wind up turning off the like where is this mute button that you use? Is it in the audio mix panel?
Yeah, audio program mix. Layer, source, volume. Bottom of that window.
Man.
Yeah, audio mix panel is what it's called.
Audio mix panel. Okay, did you turn off the dynamics button that's right next to it?
Oh.
You're
No, I didn't. I don't think I touched that.
Is the dynamics button blue or
It's the same color as the mute button.
hit the dynamics button?
Okay. Hello. Change anything?
No. Where is your volume level for that mix?
What would that be? The slider here?
The slider, yeah. Is it like all the way pegged or?
Okay. How's this? Did I get louder?
Way better. Yeah. You should be able to see your output level next to where it says mute dynamics and settings. And
right.
I mean, you were like super low.
Okay. I moved it to the right. That makes it louder. Okay.
It does.
And the dynamics button is on.
Okay. Which is good. I mean, but yeah, it was like, I'm curious. So you're in this audio mix panel and the slider, which slider did you move? The one all the way at the bottom or the one?
The one at the very bottom.
Okay. And is there one above that related or a meter above that is for your like audio interface for your mic or something?
There's one for main camera and that's all the way to the right.
Okay.
And then I have placer. I don't know why I have placer.
When you talk, what does the meter for main camera say? Like how far over does that go?
Hello, about halfway.
Okay. All right. And if you go to if you look in the sources column in your sort of main window of Mimo Live, when you talk, you should see for your main camera, your like an audio meter. Does that?
Yes.
When you talk, how far does that go?
Hello. Like a quarter.
Yeah, that's pretty low. I wonder, did you kill the gain on your mixer maybe accidentally?
I mean, the only thing I touched on the mixer is the power button. I haven't touched anything else lately.
I mean, maybe you rubbed against it or, something. Where is the gain on your mixer?
Hello. It's at 7.
Okay. All right.
I mean, here I can turn it up a little more. And this is 8.
Okay. I mean, because I've got you pegged here just to get through the show. But I mean, what you've been doing is getting better. But, yeah, it's interesting. Interesting. All right. Okay.
Yeah, as far as SIMs, there are absolutely no numbers on my SIM. So
not on the
or my SIM tray.
Really?
Sorry, SIM tray.
Okay.
There's no numbers on the SIM tray in my phone. Did you see some on yours?
No, I don't have a SIM removal tool here in the studio to test with.
Oh, okay. Yeah, during one of the ad spots, I ran and got my tool.
Yeah. Look here.
Which came with the phone, which was nice.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'll check it, but I mean, it's got to be somewhere readable on the phone. Like it's. I'm guessing it's in the SIM tray and maybe just too small to see. Did you take your SIM out? It's usually like in the. I've seen it there in like the bezel underneath where the SIM sits. On the back of the tray, listener John in the chat room says. All right.
Nope, no numbers at all on the tray. No printing whatsoever.
Okay. So support.apple.com.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, you're right.
Yeah.
Do see. Okay, it looks like tiny little numbers here. They're very tiny.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the SIM tray. Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
But not on the SIM tray. It's like you said, it's on the bezel there.
Yeah.
Whatever. So, all right.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So getting that isn't impossible, but that IMEI.
That's it.
Is,
that's what you're reading is the IMEI.
Oh, not the serial number. Okay.
On these devices, you can find the serial number in settings and the IMEI on the SIM tray. If you need support with your phone, but you can't view the settings menu, you can use the IMEI instead of the serial number. And they list basically 6S Plus all the way up to iPhones 12. So, yeah. And then prior to that, you can find the serial number in settings and the IMEI on the back of the phone. And that was like iPhone 5 to 6. And if you have an iPhone 3G, 3GS, or 4 or 4S, that has both the serial number and the IMEI on the SIM tray, which is not necessarily a good thing. So, yeah, interesting. So it's evolved. Here, I'll put this in the chat room, the Apple support article that kind of explains it all. Okay, where are we on all of this? I can start part of this process here while we have all of you still with us. Fun, because I don't have a theater show to get to today, which is good. We did them yesterday. I love this 2-show weekend. It's great. Not 5-show weekend. I don't do 5-show weekends anymore. It's too many shows. But 2 shows is great. We did them both yesterday. So one day, done. Last weekend it was Sunday. So, I mean, that was great. But it was like, do this show, race to the theater, do that show twice, come home, collapse. I sit in my little bubble. My bubble of drums. My COVID-free bubble.
On these devices, find the serial number and settings on the SIM tray. Oh, all right.
So yeah, your phone IMEI is on the SIM tray, serial number is in settings, which has been the case since the, whatever it is, the 6S, I think, whatever's on that list. Okay, let's go here. Fusion Drive and beach balls. All right. We can set that up. My schedules during the week have been nuts with this class I'm teaching. So it's been catch as catch can.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, I see it. You're right.
You looking at the sim tray again?
Yeah, it's on the bottom of it's on the bottom of the sim tray. There's something there. Okay.
All right, so your homework for this week. Well, hang on, let me get this going. But it would be very beneficial for you personally and also for the show to have a working understanding of gain structure. Oh shoot! What if I let's do it? So I'll tell you what to do, because it's just worth playing. Hang on, let me get this part rolling. MacGeekGab.com, MacGeekGab.com. Linode.com/MGG. Sunbasket.com/MGG. Ladderlife.com/MGG. Okay, we got all that in there.
Hold on a sec. What does this do? Did that do anything?
Maybe. I don't know. What did you do?
There's a volume overdrive in.
Don't do that.
Audio hijack. Okay.
Yeah. So the gain structure is just a sort of catch-all term for there are various, sometimes it's called gain staging, and that's probably a better term. There are different places in the audio chain where you can control how much gain is happening. So the idea is to get the sound from the source, aka your pie hole, to the being sent out of Mimo Live. So the first place is your microphone and mixer, right? So you want to set that gain, and the idea is you want to have high signal to noise ratios everywhere, so that you for obvious reasons. Okay, great. So the idea is you have your microphone plugged into your mixer, which really is a preamp. We're thinking of it that way. And so that gain knob there, you set as high as it can go without you overdriving it. And then maybe back off from that a little so that we're not picking up as much background noise. Like there's a little bit of technique involved here. So there's that. And then that is basically feeding directly into Mimo Live, I think. But it's worth checking the input volume of system preferences, sound input of your audio interface. Right. That's another stage of this that could be affected. I don't know, so that would be another place to check. And again, you want to get that as high as it can be.
Hello.
And this is how you do these testing. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well,
and sometimes you won't have an
input and output. Right. All right. Well, the board is selected and output volume is max.
Don't worry about it. It's not output. It's input that we're talking about.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Input level. I see a thing bouncing around. Yeah.
That's good. Can you adjust the level there though?
No.
Okay, so that's fixed.
The selected device has no input controls.
Great. That makes life a little bit easier. It's great. One less place to worry about. So then go into Mimo Live and you're going to look first on think of it going from left to right, right? So your staging is starting with your mixer, and then go into Mimo Live and look at I assume for audio device for your camera, you have your mixer selected, correct? On the left in the sources column.
Sources?
Yeah, the left column where you have your camera in Mimo Live, and you get to choose the video device and the audio device.
Main camera.
So in Mimo Live, you've got your main window, and it has sources on the left, then layer stack, then a preview pane, and then program output.
Right. I don't see sources. The leftmost column is layer stack.
Oh, interesting.
And layer sets. Then to the right of that is main camera.
Right. Go to the view menu and choose toggle source repository.
Okay. There we go.
Great.
Okay. Oh, I may have seen that before. Why did I get rid of it? Who knows? Right. Audio device, AGO6, AGO3.
Great.
Left channel, right channel, gain. Oh, look at that.
Right. So yet another
Let's
stage.
slide that to the right a bit.
Yeah, without it overdriving. Correct. Yep.
Hello? Hello? How's this? Better?
I think so. Get to a talk again. Yeah.
Here, that's all the way to the right.
Is it pegging on your end or no?
No.
Okay. I would say turn up the gain on your mixer a little bit. In fact, peg the gain on your mixer and see what happens.
Okay.
Great.
It's now at 10.
That's too much, but that's fine. Is it pegging when you talk? No, leave it at 10.
Hello.
Leave it at 10.
Yeah, I see peak comes on.
Great. But look in Mimo Live before you change it off from 10 and see what Mimo Live shows when you talk.
Okay. Whoa. All right. Mimo Live shows it's like, yeah.
Red.
The bar turns yellow and it goes all the way to the right. So that's too much.
That's too much.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Now it's on 9. That's better, maybe.
Yes. I would agree. Hearing you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Now I've been part of the gain staging is on your end and then part is on my end. But we'll worry about your end and then we'll get it. So now look in the layer stack and you probably have a layer for your camera, right?
Yes.
Is the volume knob on that all the way pegged or no?
Yes.
Okay, great. So now move over to the output thing, wherever that is. So you probably have a Mimo Live output destination. Is that right? A Mimo
Program
call
output.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have a Mimo call output destination? Is that where you like sync up with me each time?
Mimo call output. Yes.
Okay, great. So, and sorry folks for listening. I know you're getting John a little bit broken up now, but it's fine. That's probably my fault and I'll fix that once we get everything sorted here. So, does that have a volume slider? The Mimo call output?
No.
Okay, great. So program output is the only thing you're worried about, right? And that's got a volume slider and a little settings gear, correct?
Yes.
Great. And so if you go into the audio mix panel, that's where you're doing your mutes, right?
Yes.
Great. And so you you have a slider that you can peg all the way to the right, which it sounds like you've done now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. You have a mute button there. You have
not in this one.
Ah.
I have a mute button, dynamics button, a gear, and then a volume meter. And there's a slider that's at like the middle right now.
Oh, okay. So crank that.
All right. Now it's all the way to the right.
Okay. Talk a little bit more.
Okay, I'll talk a little bit. I'll talk a little bit. Talk a little bit more.
When you talk, is like the meter pegging the meter under that slider? Is it like sitting in the red or anything like that? Hello.
It's turning a little yellow. It's going like 3/4.
That's perfect. That's a good place to be. Okay, so now there's one more. So that's all of your gain staging except one thing, and that is the dynamics meter. So click the little gear next to dynamics, and that should bring up a dynamics processor, right?
Yes.
Okay, so another name for dynamics processor, in fact, a far more common name for dynamics processor, is a compressor. And so the idea behind a compressor is it will take loud sounds and bring them down so that soft sounds can be brought up without blowing people out. So it's probably acting more like a limiter. I'm curious what your curve looks like. Like when you talk, you should see a little knob or a little meter, jumping up and down on the thing. Where does yours hit when you're talking?
Hello. On the
curve.
On the curve, it goes. All right, I'm just talking normal here. It's at like -20.
That's a good place to be. Okay, for what we're doing here. Yep. Okay. There are 4 dots on the curve. One on the rightmost column, one on the bottom, and then 2 in the middle. Where is the one all the way to the right? Let's start at the top of the thing. So where is that approximately?
It's in the top right. It's
all the way up.
Topmost. Yes.
So you have no compression happening. I got it. So your line is diagonal, like no question.
Well, except for the bottom. The bottom is not. I think you had me change that at some point.
Yeah, because the bottom acts as an expander or a noise gate. So yeah. So when you are not talking, where is the where's the little meter sit? Does it go all the way down to -120?
No, it's at like -60.
Okay, and your lower dot is above that -60, correct?
No.
Because it is working as a noise gate.
No,
for
the
you.
lower.
Maybe it's me that's working as a noise gate.
The lower dot is the lowest dot is at about -80.
Okay,
and the dot above it is also around -80.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And so when you're not talking, does it appear red in the area, like the triangle between the dots in the corner?
No.
Interesting. Okay. I don't know where I'm getting noise gating from you, but it does seem to be working. So that's good. Okay. So that's your noise gate. So take the second dot from the left and move that up a bit.
Okay.
Now does it turn red?
To -80.
You moved it down. Move it up.
Up. I did.
But you said it was at -60.
Okay. No, I said the little bouncing arrow is at -60.
Ah, got it. Oh, the bouncing arrow is at 60
the dot
when you're
is
quiet.
at negative.
I got you.
Right.
I got you. Sorry. Okay, so move that dot up to like -40, just for grins.
Okay, now I see red.
Yeah, okay. So that's your noise gate expander thing on the bottom end. If your ambient volume is right, if it's below that, it's going to close the mic and it's not going to send anything through. And then if it's above that, it's going to send it through. So the only issue with that is you're not hearing the effect of your noise gate. So if it gets wonky, I mean, we'll hear it. I'll let you know. But that's not a bad thing to have that noise gate in place somewhere. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
You sound good though. Like we're getting there. I feel like make sure you save your Mimo live session. We might have to tweak a little bit at some point again, but this So that's gain staging. There you go. Yep.
All right.
Yeah, no, you sound good. Cool. All right. I'm going to, thanks for bearing with us on that, folks. I mean, I know you're just all hanging out, but I'm going to start turning off the streams because I got to start processing all this stuff here. So thank you to everybody that was on Facebook with us today. You all rock. We'll see you next time. Thanks to everybody on the YouTube video stream and or the stream at live.macgeekgab.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks. And everybody on the audio stream. Thanks.